I'm sure you're familiar with the bite model and his stuff on undue influence. So yeah, I just have a little definition of undue influence pulled up. So undue influence is a psychological process by which a person's free will and judgment is supplanted by that of another. So, I mean, when you hear that, do you feel like you can look back and see in your experience that your free will and judgment was supplanted by this group?
Anytime I was going to make a life decision, I would have to go to the leader. So, I had the free will to get a new job or to relocate or to get a new apartment or, if I wanted to get a pet or if I wanted, like, whatever it might be, every decision I'd have to go to the leader and talk to them about it. I didn't feel comfortable. If I wanted to go on vacation to visit my family, as rare as it might be, or if I had to go on a business trip, I had to go to the leader and talk about it with them and have them make the decision, have them make the call for me. It was always, I had to put my own free will second and get the permission of the leader. So, it was definitely a system where I couldn't really do what I wanted to do. And then there were times definitely where, I disagreed with, when I was taking care of members, the method that we had to provide to care for the members, things we had to say to them. Sometimes I personally didn't agree with the message, but I had to be the one who pretended like I agreed with the message in order to deliver it to them. So, there's definitely parts where you say, I'm a sinner. Like they teach that's like, teaching number one is that you are a sinner that left the kingdom of heaven. You were knocked out because of your free will, your choice, your own mind. So now you're given an opportunity to learn God's methods, God's ways. So whenever you have something that disagrees with the church, well, it's your sinful nature going against God. And that's why you didn't get to stay in heaven in the first place. And you'll never go back unless you can conform to God's plan, to God's, point of view. So whatever thoughts you had that might differ from the church, you aligned your actions and you made your thoughts go with the church in order that, you can not be led away from God, again.
Yeah, right. It's like what they do is cause you to be your own jailer or your own, slave master, however you want to put it. You're coerced and manipulated into, locking yourself into this thing.
Yeah, they definitely have that kind of power over you. I say it's like a system where they make robots who make robots. Mm-hmm. They train you to become like this, think how they program you to think, and then teach others to do the same. So it's, constantly one person teaching another person to follow this robotic, pattern of submission to ultimately this really destructive teaching that they have.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Just that fear of yourself that they instill in you, that kind of becomes this mental fencing, that keeps you in. You're afraid of your own sinfulness, and obviously hell is sort of at the foundation of that. The fear of hell being a consequence of if you let that terrible thing inside of you, outside of that fence. And so,
yeah, you're able to think for yourself, and they teach you not to. It's like they have these like shut off switches that they built into your brain that prohibit you from having free thought. So the moment you start to have a question, you shut it down. And even sometimes, though, there might be a member who actually, somehow bypasses that and asks a question. And the result of that is terrible. There was one time we were doing a study where The theology that they were teaching was that when Jesus resurrected, he was not in the physical flesh. He was in like a transfigured, different sort of body. And somebody asked, well, then why did he still have the piercings on his hands and his feet? And they spoke to him privately about it. But then after he had that question, the leader talked to all the leaders and said, oh, I thought that this member had better faith than that. He asked this question. And now all the leaders know that that brother has something wrong with his spirit, with his mind. He's questioning God's word. And now all the leadership starts to treat that brother differently because now they know that he's the one questioning. So now if he's near a new member, they do some awkward, let's separate them, because they call it something called spiritual gangrene, where they think that, his doubt, his question, that simple question is going to affect. Yeah. So they separate that member from the other members in order to prevent, further questioning from spreading through the church. And now this member, like, he asks a question and now he sees a result. This is what happens when you ask a question. You get treated differently. So what should you do in the future? Just, say, okay, well, if the church told me this is the way it is, this is the way it is, don't question it, just follow. Because otherwise you're going to get shunned. So it's really intricate, but they know what they're doing.